The irony of Amarantha's curse is that Feyre was never going to solve it. It's not until the bargain is rephrased and reaccepted under the mountain that she truly becomes the Cursebreaker. And let's just get ahead of this now. A lot of this video is going to be semantics based and very clearly about the words specifically that were chosen, because that's Fey culture. You need to be careful about the way things are worded, right? So let's start with what we know. Tamlin has 7 by 7 years, 49 years, to send one of his sentries out to be murdered by a human woman with hate in her heart for fairies. Then she must be brought back to the spring court to be courted, where she needs to say that she loves him and mean it with her whole heart, and she needs to say it to his face. And then the curse would be broken, Tamlin would get his full powers again, and yay. So there are a couple of things I'd like to point out here when it comes to the semantics. First off, Feyre needs to say that she loves him and mean it with her whole heart. That task is near impossible for someone like Feyre, who has never been exposed to love in any manner. In every sense of the word, she was completely abandoned and neglected by every single family member. From losing one parent to death, to giving up on the other parent for actually getting his shit together and feeding the family. And then the sisters, well, they just resented her already. The only romantic relationship Feyre has in her entire life is Isaac Hale, who really is a fuck buddy at best. So Feyre doesn't know what love is. She's never experienced it, she's never received it, and she honestly doesn't know if she's given it, because people in those circumstances honestly don't know if they love someone, because again, they have no example of that at home or any other aspect of their life. So you take someone with that kind of trauma, that kind of abandonment and neglect issues, and you expect them to tell someone that they love them, especially in such a short time that Feyre was given with Tamlin. I mean, come on, let's be so for real, that's not happening. Point number 2. Feyre had to kill the sentry with hate in her heart. And for this, I'm going to read specifically what Alice says, because again, the wording is important, especially in the established lore of this specific culture of Fae. Alice says, "Worse, the fairy she killed had to be one of his men, sent across the wall by him like lambs to slaughter. The girl could only be brought back here to be courted if she killed one of his men in an unprovoked attack, killed him for hatred alone, just as Jurian had done to Clythia." Killed for hatred alone. That's not why Feyre killed Andras. First off, she genuinely did think that he was a wolf. She had suspicions that he may be Fae because of his size, but ultimately she thought she was feeding her family. That's not hatred, that's love. That's survival. And that's the kind of love that she doesn't know exists just yet, because she's never been given that vocabulary. Feyre specifically says in the book that had she known Andras was Fae, she would have left him alone. She was far more afraid of dying in the process and her family losing the only hunter there. So she wouldn't have taken the kill if she had thought that it had any amount of actual intelligence beyond that of a feral creature. That alone negates the opportunity for her to actually break the curse. All right, so let's fast forward to Under the Mountain. And here is the genius of Sarah Maas in the most subtle ways that I love her for. The curse already wasn't going to be broken because Feyre, semantically, did not fulfill the initial requirement to be courted in the first place. Another important thing to note here is that the curse relies entirely on Amarantha's will to keep it going. One, that's the nature of magic. Okay, I don't know that that's how it works in the books, but Sarah Maas is a crystal girly, so it stands to reason. So then they make the new bargain. Feyre can either successfully complete all 3 trials, or she can solve the riddle. We already know that with the trials, Amarantha, being a chaotic evil character, was never going to actually honor that. All of this is just a big game to Amarantha, and she seriously underestimated the resilience of human nature and the will to survive, which thankfully Feyre excels at. So let's go ahead and talk about that 3rd trial. Amarantha specifically said that Feyre had to stab all 3 of them in the heart with an ash dagger that was provided. But Tamlin doesn't have a heart at the moment. Or if he does, it's made of stone, so it can't be penetrated. So again, this is a semantics argument, but Amarantha could absolutely claim that the stab wasn't real because it didn't penetrate anything. Or at least not his heart. It penetrated his chest, but it stopped where his heart should be. So, semantically speaking, technically, Feyre didn't stab him in the heart, she stabbed him in the stone. But we see it doesn't matter. Amarantha finds her own way out of it anyway because she's chaotic evil and that's what she's going to do. And then we get to the riddle, which honestly is the best part of this whole thing. My first time reading the ACOTAR series, I knew immediately that the answer to the riddle was love. I knew that. It's honestly cliché. Except it's not cliché to Feyre. To the point that I was convinced I had it wrong, that there had to be some sneaky other word that could fit just as well as love. But it's not cliché to Feyre, who has had no love in her life, no education, no fairy tales, no bedtime stories, none of that. So while the readers of the audience have seen this over and over and over again, and yeah, of course it's love, it's not obvious to Feyre. And it is probably obvious to everybody else under the mountain because they do have that education. They do have that experience with bedtime stories and family that actually loves and respects them. Well, loves them. So for Feyre to solve that riddle on her own the way she did is 100% her. That is all her wits. It's all her thinking. It's no influence from anybody else. And Feyre got to truly earn the title of Cursebreaker because there was no way she was going to break that curse no matter what she did. Because every step of the way, the semantics prevented her from actually fulfilling it. And a chaotic evil character like Amarantha is always going to exploit that. But she did not allow for any loopholes with that riddle. It was just, you solve the riddle and it's all done immediately. It's genius. I love it. And that's why I love Sarah Maas and everything she does. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know all the different ways that I'm wrong and things that I'm missing. Or let me know if you agree with the analysis. Either way, tell me in the comments.